What is up, everybody? If you don't know, now you do know. You're officially tuned in to another special edition of the HFWB Podcast Series. This is your host, Clifton Pope, and with me today, I have my wonderful friend who is back once again. And let me just say this, y'all. If you don't know who I'm talking about, I'm just going to keep it short and simple this time. She's a fighter in the ring, and she's a fighter for your business, and we're going to break that down on what I mean in just a second. Welcome back, the lovely Marina Robles, to the HFWB Podcast Series. Marina, what is going on? What is going on?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me on here again.
Nah, it's a pleasure, Marina. I mean, there's so much is going on within the both of us. It's like I feel like our journeys are more and more aligning as like the year is winding down and that we're going into a new year and everything. And you've been quite active. Literally, the last time we talked a couple of months ago, I know you had a fight recently. It was like some sort of like submission challenge and everything. And I remember you were talking about that as far as like it being something different and pushing you. How did you feel about that?
It was a really good experience. Yeah, it was submission only, which I'm used to being able to use my hands and my legs to kick people or hit people. This was strictly just submission, choking people out,
Mm-hmm.
or getting them a tap, or nobody wins at all. So it was for a cash prize, which is really exciting also. Typically for amateurs, you don't get paid to fight. And even
Mm-hmm.
when you go pro, it's still not like a whole bunch of money right away.
Yeah.
So the fact that they were offering that was super motivating. Like I was like, oh, this is cool. Like I get to win something. Unfortunately, it was a draw, so nobody won, which means nobody submitted anyone. But it
Okay.
was a really good experience. I'm glad I didn't get choked out. I'm glad I didn't tap. But looking back on it, I definitely did see some areas where I can grow from. And actually, that girl that I went against, she's helping me for my upcoming fight, January 7th. We're training partners now, so it's pretty cool how that worked
Mm.
out.
I know, and that's just like such a perfect segue. The person you fought last against is now becoming kind of like your partner in crime and helping you get ready for the next one. And it's kind of like she's helping you get out of your comfort zone, training within that to where you could be even better, like you alluded to for the January 7th fight. Which, for everyone who's listening to the HFWB podcast series who hasn't figured this out by now, of course I have Marina back because I love what she's doing, like she knows that. And at the same time, I kind of told her that anytime she has a fight coming up, she's definitely welcome back on my podcast anytime that she wants to. Now, speaking of that, Marina, what's going on with this January the 7th fight?
So it's going to be in Sinton, Texas, which I'm happy about because that's closer to home than my last fights. Pretty much
Okay.
the other fights have been like that I've ever had were either in Oklahoma, so completely out of state, or just further up in Texas where my family and friends wouldn't all be able to make the drive. So this
Uh-huh.
one's not too far. It's about 45 minutes to an hour away from Corpus, close to home. So a lot of my family that supports and friends are going to be out there. So I'm definitely excited about that. As far as
Uh-huh.
the camp goes, I'm very, very confident in the camp. I feel myself getting better every day. And now with Roman being able to train with me, like that's even better because typically I train with all the guys, which is
Uh-huh.
great because, getting hit by a big dude versus getting hit by someone in my weight class is totally different. So if
It
I can
toughens
handle
you up tremendously.
exactly. If I can handle them, I can handle someone else my size. But there are differences too, though, because a lot of times the guys might not hit. They'll pull back. So
Uh-huh.
versus someone who's my size, they're not going to pull back even in practice. So I definitely can see the contrast and the difference. But I'm really glad that she's now around to have someone to practice with. Um, this girl that I'm supposed to be going against is actually a lot closer to my weight, whereas before the other girls were way bigger. For those who don't know,
Yes.
I'm 105 pounds, so I'm super small. And even at that, like my weight class is 105, but I typically was walking around at 102. So yeah, it was like I was still kind of underweight, and a lot of the girls would be 120, 125, and they would drop all of that weight to get to where I am. But then the next day, when we're in a cage, after we stepped on the scale, they've gained all their weight back overnight, and I'm still
Mm-hmm.
102 pounds. So, not like that. I mean, it definitely does make a difference. But thankfully, I've won some of those matches where they were bigger than me. But yeah, I'm excited about this one because we're like same size, same weight, same or close experience level. So it's gonna be a good one. And I've heard that she likes to stand and bang, so do I. So it should be entertaining too.
Uh, That's what I was just about to say, Marina. One thing I've noticed about all of your fights that I've watched personally, you are not afraid to throw them bows. And now you're having
Yeah.
someone who's kind of like your equal. So something tells me that this might potentially be an all-out slugfest and everything. But hey,
Yeah.
that's what makes mixed martial arts. And I know you're definitely up for the challenge, Marina. And I know that you're going to succeed in this, and it's going to be a great way to start off the new year without question. But it's crazy. You're basically a fighter at heart, Marina, and it translates within everything that you do. And now you're taking it from within the ring, and now you're taking it from within the business world because now I don't know if people realize this or not, but now Marina is now the marketing director for Alpha Film Creative, who's helping shining spotlights on all these local businesses. And it's like, when I say unity in the community, now it's like it's trickling down to Marina, and now she's doing this. And I just want to say I'm so proud of you for doing that, Marina. You got to tell me how all this came together. This is incredible.
So I actually have known Martin for a little over 10 years. Back when I was in high
Shout out to
school.
Morgan, by the way.
Yeah, yeah, shout out Martin AFC. So I actually, my father and I, back when I was in high school, organized a God Belongs in My City walk. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but one of my favorite Christian artists is Andy Mineo, and he had a song called God Belongs in My City, and it
Hmm.
kind of like went viral throughout the Christian community, and people started doing the walks because the music video was a
Hmm.
walk. And everyone had these black and white shirts. It said God Belongs in My City, and it was awesome. So I was like, oh, we got to do that down here. So my dad and I got together with some other local people, local churches, Christian entertainers, and Martin being in the rap scene was one of them. So that's how we met, through him and through the churches. Um, Time went on. Of course, I graduated, went my own way. He went his with his business. And then we just kind of met. I know we were talking earlier, full circle. Like it kind of went full circle again.
Yeah.
And I saw that he was doing like all of this stuff, which I was like, man, like props to him, because I already knew him from the rapping and stuff that he did and the music videos he created, and I was like, he has a gift and a talent. So just watching him
Yeah.
from the outside and his business, him and Ruth, how they've been able to travel and get some awesome connections and shoots and stuff, I thought it was really cool. And then he one day posted that they were hiring. It's like, oh snap. But at the time, it was to hire like what is it called? Like a, oh my gosh, it starts with an I. An internship, like an intern, kind of is what it
Oh, like an
sounded like.
intern. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like if they were gonna teach them the ropes of editing and things like that, they just kind of needed an
Yes, I
assistant.
remember seeing
Um,
that.
yeah, so at the time, I was actually going through a job change. The place I was working for, they were going to move, and we pretty much got laid off. So I was looking for a job. I reached out to
Mm.
Martin, and he was like, yeah, like send me an email and all of that. So it seemed like it was going to go good. But then the job I was working at, they started extending people's stay. So I was like, well, I'll just stay here for now until they really don't need me, and I'm really jobless. And so I like never heard anything about Alpha Film Creative again. They never posted anything. I figured they found someone to fill a position. And then again, that job, my time came up, and it was about the same exact time that the job came up, that it was over with, that they posted again that they were hiring someone, but this time they were looking for a marketing director. Um, oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. They didn't post it. Martin reached out to me, and he texted me and was like, hey, do you have a moment to talk? I had just got out of practice, and so I was like, yeah, like let me call you in like 5-10 minutes. So then when I called him, that's what he had said, that that they're now looking for like a marketing director, and they had already
Mm.
seen me on Instagram and Facebook promoting my sponsors and the gyms I'm going to, so they thought that it was a good fit. Yeah, and they knew I was interested before, so it's awesome because I was already like telling my family and my coaches that I wanted a job like this in marketing. Like I love that
Sweet.
kind of stuff. I know not everyone likes the meetings and the going up to strangers and talking to people, but I love it. I really do.
Yeah.
I'm a social butterfly for sure. Or what do
Yeah.
they call it? The extroverted introvert. So it's like
Yes.
during the
Yes.
day I'll go out and I'll talk to people and all of that, and I go to practice, and then I have my quiet time and I go home, and it just seems like everything fits so well with like what I was wanting out of life and the kind of like career and job and
Yeah.
fighting. So I'm very blessed to be in a position there
Yes.
that I am with film, and I love it.
It's crazy, and I will say this, Marina. A lot of people don't notice about Marina. She is very, very talented when it comes to marketing, and it's funny how this kind of all just ties into like now your overall job and now becomes your overall passion as far as what you love, and
Yeah.
that's one of the things that helps you light up your purpose from within yourself and just in general. So that's beautiful to see, Marina. I'm that's it's definitely a full circle thing for sure, and it's
Yeah.
like now all of us are now all coming all back around and kind of just uniting on basically unity in the community, which is a beautiful thing to see. And it's like looking back at the year, it's been quite the journey from both of us. I mean, we've both have come a long way considering from when we first originally met back in February to now
Yeah.
where we are now. I mean, look at what I have behind me. I got like a plaque for the young business leader from within the Corpus Christi Black Chambers of Commerce. I have like my own book and stuff. You are on the track to basically becoming like a rising star within the MMA world, now within the marketing world. It's like if you could look back at 2022, Marina, what would be the best way you could summarize it?
Oh my gosh. Best way to summarize?
If you could summarize it maybe in 3 words, how could you summarize it, if
Oh man.
possible?
Well, stepping stones is 2 words, but
We can count that as
opportunity is
one.
because that's really what it has been. I feel like this year a lot of doors and open and opportunities presented themselves. Some of them I took on, some of them I didn't, some of them I tried and maybe it worked out and maybe it didn't.
Hmm.
But definitely like that's what I would say this year was, and it was all just pushing me forward, like getting me out of my comfort zone. I feel
Hmm.
like I kind of broke a shell in a way. And then honestly, it really just happened, like you said, this year, because I've been training and stuff for a while, and
Yes.
it seemed like ever since I had joined at Weapons, they were just like, let's fight, let's fight, let's fight, and immediately the ball started rolling, and once that started rolling, all the other opportunities started opening up with sponsors, and then that opened up the opportunity with marketing and stuff like that. So it's really cool how everything kind of connected this year.
Yes, and the thing you said there is just you got out of your comfort zone at times, and it's not
Yeah.
easy getting out of your comfort zone within itself. I
Yeah.
mean, I'll be completely honest, Marina. When I get out of my comfort zone, I don't like it, but eventually I learn how to adjust and adapt because that's what you have to do in order to evolve. But it's that initial reaction of just feeling uncomfortable that a lot of people can't overcome that resistance to where they can basically
Yep.
keep pushing forward and stuff. And so, someone who's having trouble getting out of their comfort zone, Marina, what would you tell them right now?
To just suck it up and do it. Honestly, like it's fun. I'm for real. I mean, I don't mean to be like rude or anything, but for real, like just like suck it up and do it, because there's there's so many times that people have asked me like, or they tell me like, oh, it's easy for you because you're outgoing, and going back to like being the extroverted introvert, like I'm outgoing and talkative when I need to be, or if I know people, like yeah, if I
Yes.
feel comfortable with you, I'm crazy. But if I don't know you, or even if we're just kind of out and about and I'm just running errands, I'm pretty quiet for the most part.
Yes.
I just see me online all the time on my story though, so they're like, oh, that's what you do, you're outgoing. But no, so like the first time I walked into weapons, first off, I was the only girl by myself. I'm like this big. It was terrifying. It was super terrifying, but I knew that if I wanted to fight and go pro one day, like this had to be done. Like, and no matter what, it had to be done. Like I was not going to get to where I wanted to be until I faced this challenge, and that was sucking up my nerves and just like, hey, it's only an hour that you're going to be out there training, and yeah, you're brand new, and yeah, you're super small, and you don't know anybody, and it's fighting. Like that already is pretty intimidating. I did it, and I was proud of myself afterwards, and it wasn't easy. Like I get nervous. There's moments when I wanted to cry before even, but I'm like, not for that specific, but just in things that I've done where, you know, you get stage fright or you don't want to go out there. But I have a goal, I have a mission, and if I'm gonna do that and reach that, I have to do X, Y, and Z, and there's no way around it. You gotta follow the formula. You just gotta go out there and do it. So yeah, that's what I would basically say. Like, you know, no sugarcoating. There is no way around it. If you want to get from A to B, you have to go through that road that gets you there. Like, there's no easy way or shortcut. Yeah.
It's the attention to details that matter the most, and it's like, and it's funny you mentioned that, Marina, because I remember I was talking to a friend of mine about that, because it's like people want to act like, oh, you have it's difficult. I don't know what I want to do with all this, and it's like you just gotta pay attention to all the little details and do all the simple things, and once you do that, everything else will eventually fall into place. It's like it's crazy how some people get lost within that, and it just goes back to just the resistance factor. I mean, resistance stops like all the great minds from accomplishing what it is that they want to do. It stops artists from creating their art. It stops writers from basically having like writers from with writer's block, for instance. I went through that myself within writing my book. I mean, there was times where I couldn't find the words to say, but I knew that once I put it all together, it was going to be a wonderful story to tell. And look where I am now. I mean, it's just, you just got to suck it up and you just got to deal with it. And you just got to realize that, yeah, life sucks sometimes, and then at the end of the day, you die. Sometimes that's the best approach you got to have to get through those hurdles for sure. But overall, it's crazy though, Marina. We're heading into a new year. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, what do you have as far as your ideal mission going into 2023? Like, what do you envision yourself accomplishing and figuring out ways to get better into things that you're already doing rather well?
Well, for sure, with the fighting, definitely like staying active throughout the year. I don't plan on taking any breaks if I don't need to. I know a lot of times the fighters will maybe do like a couple fights and they'll have a small little resting period and then continue because they're cutting a lot of weight or they're putting their body through a lot of strenuous stuff. I'm very blessed that I don't have to cut weight, so if I don't have to, then I mean, there's no reason for me to take a break. I'm just really trying to get a lot of experience. So definitely that, cross-training, going to other gyms, that's something that my coach has been including in our program. And I've seen the benefits of it. Like last week, we went to a boxing gym. I'm not a boxer, and there's a difference with MMA and just boxing only even. Like, they're fast. And, you know, for us, we're like, we'll hit you and then we'll take you down. But with them, it's like all we have are our hands. So
Stick and move at its finest.
Head movement and things like that. So it's definitely, like, it's a lot of fun. But, again, going back to the last question, like that, I was nervous about that even, and I was going against kids the other day because they're my size, but because it's different, because it's new, it's unfamiliar. So, yeah, for those that think like, oh, it's easy for her, like, no, I have to have pep talks with myself sometimes, like, so don't be fooled. Like, I definitely go through emotions too. You just have to overcome those emotions and keep going. But yeah, and then back to the question about 2023, with Alpha Film Creative, I know we have big plans for that. Of course, locking in more clients, shooting more videos. We're supposed to be going to Vegas in March, so I'm excited about that. I know. Actually, March is going to be a really good month for me because I'm going to Vegas and I'm going to see my favorite comedian. So I'm very excited for March. But yeah, I mean, that's mainly my focus for 2023 are those two things, you know, just continue fighting, continue growing, and then with Alpha Film, you know, growing that business too, helping out the team, contributing to all the great work that they do, and, you know, meeting more business owners to do more.
This is incredible, and it's like I said the last time. I envisioned you being in Vegas, and now here you are
Then you
going
were
to
going to
Vegas.
Vegas? I know. I'm
No,
so
but
excited.
have you been to Vegas before, Marina?
No, never. My parents have been like
Oh
4 times.
my God.
Everyone I know has gone. You've been, right?
I've been to Vegas twice, and it's gonna change the way you look at life the moment you go to Vegas. That's crazy. But
Yeah,
that's
my
that's
parents. Oh no, I'm sorry. That's what they were saying that like there's so much to do in Vegas that even just going
this
once is
is.
not enough. Like you have to keep going to try everything out.
Yeah, I went to Vegas in 2013 when I was 21, and then I went recently in 2016. And I plan on going back in 2023 myself. That is a personal goal of mine, is to get back into Vegas, because Vegas is a different monster within itself. I remember one time, the first time I went to Vegas, so this was actually the time when Anderson Silva was fighting in Vegas, and he broke his
Oh
leg in the middle of the
yeah.
ring. I was
Oof.
in Vegas that night that happened, and I remember just being in the hotel room, turning on the TV, seeing ESPN. I'm like, Anderson Silva broke his leg, and I was literally just at the MGM earlier because I was waiting on my cousin to get out of the bathroom, and somebody came up to me thinking that I was selling merchandise and tickets for fights, and I was
Oh
like,
my
no, I'm just waiting on my cousin to get out of the bathroom. I'm like, no.
That's
It was,
crazy. That's cool you were there though.
but that's just an example of the action that you'll see in Vegas and everything, Marina. And this is actually an interesting question as far as what should I ask next, which I should say, if you had anywhere, Marina, you wanted to travel, where would you want to travel to and why? And where's your
Ugh.
favorite place that you've traveled so far?
Where would I want to travel? I already know for sure the three places that I want to go to. In no particular order, but Egypt, Thailand, and Greece. Egypt, because I've just always been obsessed with Egypt since I was a little kid. I don't know why. I've just always been interested in reading books about it and the mummies and all of that. So I think it'd be
There's a
cool
lot
to
of
actually
history
go.
behind in Egypt. That's a
Yeah, a
great
lot of
choice.
history. Greece, because it looks beautiful and I just want to have a nice vacation out in Greece.
You're not the
And
only person who said that who's been on my podcast, Marina. Greece is a very popular
it's
choice.
beautiful. It looks so like just laid back, romantic, nice. Like, I could just,
And
yeah.
apparently their food is fantastic too, of what
Oh
I've
my
heard.
gosh, yes. And then Thailand, because of training, I love Muay Thai, and I want to go out there and train one day. I think that would be awesome, and then just experience the
Mm,
culture. That's actually like where I started with my fighting was doing Muay Thai, and so that's why I
mm.
actually have a little Muay Thai fighter right here on my arm.
Okay,
But
okay.
yeah, so I would love to go to Thailand, try it out, see the culture. Actually, one of my favorite fighters from one championship, Stomp Fairtex, she's from
Uh-huh.
Thailand. So yeah, I would really like to go out there. I think that would be awesome.
Interesting, interesting. Going out to Thailand, it's like I never knew I was gonna say, is the history of Muay Thai based out of Thailand and everything? Is
So
that is that?
I might be incorrect on this, but I believe it started as like a war type of like combat protective
Okay,
sport, and actually it means the art of eight limbs because you're using your elbows, your knees, your legs, your arms, like everything, right?
this is
And
true.
so yeah, and that's why I love it because it is like I think I mentioned this last time, like it's beautifully brutal because
Yes, you
it is
did.
it's beautiful. Like it looks like an art when you watch these matches, and then a lot of times they'll wear their headpieces or their armbands. So it does look very beautiful and poetic, but at the same time, you see what they're doing, and they're like kicking each other, and you could hear the cracks and the whips of the shins, and it's like, oof, ouch. But at the same time,
Yeah.
it really is beautiful to watch. And then there with Thailand, like they make it very ceremonial, so it really is like a full blown experience to actually go and watch one of those live. So yeah, I would love to do that one day.
That's what's up, Marina. That is what's up, and I can definitely see you doing that. And I don't know why, Marina. I could just picture you just opening like your own fighter academy or something like that, because
That
it's
would be
like
cool. Yeah.
because you just got that natural spunk in you, and you just got that natural badass attitude to where it's like you're gonna keep on going no matter what is in front of you. You're the type of person who's not gonna go around the brick wall. You're gonna run right through it,
I'm gonna
get
run
back
through
up,
it.
and then you're gonna keep on running. And that's one of the things I love and respect about you. And at the same time, going back to what you were alluding to as far as the extrovert introvert, I'm literally the same exact way. I can be very, very outgoing when I have to be, because it's like sometimes you just have to do what you have to do within that. But at the same time, I love my peace and quiet, because that's where it allows me to come back stronger to where I could be even a better extrovert. So it's kind of like sometimes being the best introvert allows you to be the best extrovert, because it allows you to think, and it allows you to process things, and it allows you to attack next time you come back around. And it's some good stuff. I mean, that's one of the things why I feel like both of us relate in many ways, and
Yeah.
and both of us have in common is that we're both fighters at heart, and we're going to keep on fighting. So overall, Marina, I feel like this should be the best question I should ask you as far as to end this one, as far as what symbolizes a fighter to you, and how would you encourage someone to be the best fighter they can be?
What symbolizes a fighter?
Like to you, like what is your best definition of a fighter? Because you truly are one, Marina. Like I said, you're a fighter in the ring and a fighter for your business for the reason. So I feel like you should best describe that definition of what is a fighter to you.
Definitely someone that's resilient, like someone that's gonna push through. Like you mentioned before, doing things that you don't want to do. Like that's not every day that a fighter's just motivated or driven to go to the gym. Like, I mean, be realistic. We're getting beat up, so many days out of the week. Like, we're not always like, oh, I want to go out there and just take people down. Like, there are days where we're like, oh my God, my body, it hurts.
Yeah,
um,
your days where you don't want to get out of bed.
yeah, exactly. I mean, we're human. We just so happen to love to fight. So,
Mm-hmm.
just what makes someone different and what separates them is that although we feel those ways or we might have those feelings, is that we still are going to pursue whatever it is that we have our mindset to. Like, there is nothing that's going to stop us from getting there. So it really is having that passion and that discipline. Like, discipline goes very, very far.
Yes.
I mean, when I would train people like at the gym, not even just for fighting, I would tell them like just doing the act of something, even if you got in the car and you drove to the gym and you didn't get out, but you drove to the gym, like you're staying consistent with patterns and doing stuff. Like those are the baby steps that are going to get you there, and then eventually you will make your way out of the car. But yeah, that is what I would say really sets us apart. Because people can go in there and train. I mean, they can train the 6 days out of the week just as hard as we are. But when you put them in the cage, are they going to break at the pressure, or are they
Mm-hmm.
going to continue to keep going? So yeah, that's definitely the difference that I would say, is just having that bulldog mentality of like, like you said, I'm gonna bust through the wall. It's nothing. I'm just gonna break through it.
You want to know what I'm thinking about right now, Marina? And based on everything you're talking about, I'm even thinking about a little bit of a Mamba mentality in me by saying this. It comes down to, are you the different animal, but at the same time, the same beast? See, a lot of
Yeah,
people don't know what that means.
yeah, that's very
And
true.
that,
No, they say that a lot actually. Some of the guys, you gotta have that Mamba mentality. You just gotta do it.
And that's the best way I feel like we should end this episode of the podcast series by letting me and Marina want to let you know this. Are you a different animal and the same beast? I feel like that's a great way you should end 2022 for those who are listening to this right now, who are wondering how did 2022 go, and for those who are listening to this going into the new year 2023. Are you a different animal but the same beast? Let that sink in. That's the message I feel like me and Marina are going to leave this episode of the podcast with today. And at the same time, keep on fighting, and I guarantee you're going to break through eventually. So, Marina, any last words as far as what you want to tell the people as far as what you got coming up? I know we alluded on this earlier, but just to give them a friendly reminder.
Yes, go ahead and follow me on Instagram at Marina Renee Darling. You can also find me on Facebook, Marina Robles. I post a lot about my fight journey, my training camps, beauty stuff, my alpha film creative stuff. So definitely lots of content to keep you entertained, keep y'all engaged. Of course, I want to give a huge shout out to all of my sponsors. I got Rocks Discount. They are a vitamin store throughout Texas, and actually they're going to be opening a new shop in Houston soon. So Houston listeners, just keep an eye out for that. I have a code, so at any store you can get discounts at if you just let them know my name, Marina Robles, at checkout, and they'll get you some hookups. Of course, I want to thank Oh My Lash. She's keeping me beautiful outside of the ring because, you know, I'm sweaty all the time and training all the time, so it feels nice to get dolled up. Oh My Lash does lash extensions, facials, they do teeth whitening, a bunch of things like that. I also want to thank the training room because the training room has been keeping my body in tip-top shape. They help with injury prevention and also outpatient surgeries, things like that too. It's basically like a rehab chiropractic place. Then I want to thank Reslos Media. He's been able to make it out to pretty much all of my fights and has been recording them, sending them to me so that way I have something to go back on and review after the fight so that way my next fight I come back way better, way stronger, don't make the same mistakes. And then, of course, I want to thank one of my newer sponsors that are on the team. It's Mark's Flooring, and they actually are here throughout Corpus Christi and the surrounding areas, and they do floor repairs, concrete sidewalk crack repairs, things like that. So you can also check them out on Facebook and Instagram, too. Let me see. I don't think I'm missing anybody. If I am missing someone, I do apologize. But just follow my Facebook page, my Instagram, because I do post my sponsors on there every single week, and then I post more fun content too. So, thanks, Clifton, for having me on the podcast.
Of course, anytime, Marina. And don't you just love that? I mean, that just gives you more of a reason just to follow her journey because she keeps on going, and that's what it's all about. And that's all I'm saying here on the HFWB podcast series. Just keep on going, and you'll create your own lane of success by putting in the work, making it work, and creating your own wealth through the work. And Marina symbolizes that at its finest. And with that being said, Marina, thank you so much for once again dedicating time out of your busy schedule to hop on the HFWB podcast series. And I'm sure we'll be chatting again very, very soon down the road, like always.
Definitely. We definitely will.
Cool. Well, for everyone listening to the HFWB podcast series, this is your host, Clifton Pope. And once again, I encourage y'all to stay healthy, wealthy, and blessed. And until next time, peace and love.